Long words, often referred to as sesquipedalian words, are those that contain a large number of letters or syllables. These words are typically complex and may be used in specialized fields such as medicine, science, and literature. They often carry precise meanings and are constructed from multiple roots, prefixes, and suffixes. While some long words are used regularly within their specific contexts, others are coined for humorous or illustrative purposes, highlighting the richness and flexibility of the English language. In technical fields, long words are essential for accurate and detailed descriptions. Methionine, threonyl, glutaminyl, arginyl, isoleucine, methionine, threonyl, glutaminyl, arginyl, isoleucine. This is the chemical name for the largest known protein, titin. The full name is so extensive that it's impractical for regular use and is usually abbreviated to titin. Discovered in the late 20th century, titin plays a critical role in muscle contraction and elasticity. The name titin derives from the protein discovered and described in the late 20th century as a part of muscle structure research. Letter count, 189,819. This word takes 3.3 hours to read. Pneumonultra microscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Pneumono, ultra, microscopic, silico, volcano, coniosis. A lung disease is caused by inhaling very fine silicate or quartz dust. It was coined by the National Puzzlers League president, Everett M. Smith, in 1935. Letter count, 45. Hippopodo-monstro-sesquipedaliophobia. Hippo, podo, monstro, sesqui, pedalio, phobia. Ironically, the fear of long words, a humorous term often cited in psychology. Letter count, 35. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Super, cali, fragilistic, expialidocious. A word meaning fantastic, popularized by the movie Mary Poppins. It was first used in the 1940s but made famous by Disney in 1964. Letter count, 34. Pseudo-hypoparathyroidism. Pseudo-hypoparathyroidism. A genetic disorder that simulates pseudohyperthyroidism. First identified in medical literature in the 1950s. Letter count, 30. Floxinosinahilipilification. Flochy, nasi, nihili, pili, fication. The action or habit of estimating something as worthless. Coined in the 18th century from a combination of Latin words. Letter count, 29. Antidisestablishmentarianism. Anti-disestablishmentarianism. Opposition to the disestablishment of the Church of England. Originated in the 19th century during the Church of England's political movements. Letter count, 28. Honorific abilitudinitatis. Honorific abilitudini tatibus. The state of being able to achieve honors. Used by Shakespeare in Love's Labour's Lost. Letter count, 27. Thyroparathyroidectomized. Thyroparathyroid, ectomized. Having undergone a surgical removal of the thyroid and parathyroid glands. A medical term used in surgery. Letter count, 25. Dichlorodifluoromethane. Difluoromethane. A chlorofluoromethane is used in refrigerants. Developed in the 20th century as a refrigerant gas. Letter count, 23. Incomprehensibilities. Incomprehensibilities. Things that are difficult or impossible to understand. Used since the 17th century. Letter count, 21. Hepaticocholangiacholecystenterastomies. Hepatico, cholangio, cholecyst, entero, stomies. A surgical connection between the liver, gallbladder, and intestines. A term used in complex medical procedures. Letter count, 39. Spectrophotofluorometrically. photo, fluoro, metric, ally, about the measurement of light and fluorescence, used in scientific and analytical chemistry fields. Letter count, 28. Psychoneuroendocrinological, psycho, neuro, endocrino, logical, relating to the study of interactions between the psyche, the nervous system, and the endocrine system, used in interdisciplinary medical research. Letter count, 27. Radioimmunoelectrophoresis, radio, immuno, electro, phoresis, a technique combining radioimmunoassay and electrophoresis, developed in the 20th century for medical diagnostics. Letter count, 26. Psychophysicotherapeutics, psycho-physico-therapeutics, treatments involving both mind and body, used in holistic and alternative medicine. Letter count, 25. Hippopodo-monstro-sesquipedalian, hippo, podo, monstro, sesqui, pedalian, about extremely long words, derived from Latin, often used humorously. Letter count, 30. Immunoelectrophoretically, immuno-electro-phoretically, relating to the process of immunoelectrophoresis, developed for medical and laboratory analysis. Letter count, 25. Ichio-zalino-calcalino-serratio-lumino-secupreo-vitriolic, iquio, seleno, calcalino, serratio, alumino, scupio, vitriolic, describing the complex mineral waters found in some hot springs, a rare term found in old geological texts. Letter count, 52. Magnetohydrodynamics, magneto-hydrodynamics, the study of the magnetic properties and behavior of electrically conducting fluids, first described in the 20th century in physics. Letter count, 20. Otorhinolaryngological, oto, rhino, laryngo, logical, about the medical study of ear, nose, and throat, a specialty within medical science. Letter count, 22. Immunocytochemistries, immunocytochemistries, the branch of biology that deals with the identification of cellular components, used in biomedical research. Letter count, 21. Psychopharmacotherapeutics, psychopharmacotherapeutics, treatment of mental disorders with drugs, an interdisciplinary field combining psychology and pharmacology. Letter count, 26. Neurolinguistic programming, neuro-linguistic programming, a psychological approach involves analyzing strategies used by successful individuals and applying them to reach a personal goal. Developed in the 1970s by Richard Bandler and John Grinder. Letter count, 26. Electroencephalographically, electroencephalographically, about the process of recording electrical activity in the brain, a technique developed in the 20th century. Letter count, 27. Spectrophotometrically, spectrophotometrically, about the measurement of light intensity, used in chemistry and physics for analyzing substances. Letter count, 22. Intercontinental ballistic, intercontinental ballistic, about missiles that can travel between continents, developed during the Cold War for military purposes. Letter count, 25. Otorhinolaryngologists, otorhinolaryngologists, specialists in the medical field of ear, nose, and throat, a recognized medical specialty. Letter count, 23. Palatopharyngolaryngectomy, palato, pharyngo, laryngectomy, surgical removal of the palate, pharynx, and larynx, a term used in surgical oncology. Letter count, 26. Hyperlipoproteinemia, hyperlipoproteinemia, an elevated level of lipoproteins in the blood, a medical condition identified in the 20th century. Letter count, 20. Paleoanthropologically, anthropologically, pertaining to the study of ancient humans and their predecessors. A field of anthropology. Letter count, 22. Electroencephalograph. Electroencephalograph, an instrument for measuring electrical activity in the brain. First developed in the early 20th century. Letter count, 21. Anthropocentrically, viewing the world in terms of human values and experiences. A term used in philosophy and environmental studies. Letter count, 19. Deoxyribonucleoprotein. Deoxyribonucleoprotein, a complex of DNA and protein, essential in genetics and molecular biology. Letter count, 22. Psychotherapeutically, about the treatment of mental disorders through psychological methods. A term used in clinical psychology. Letter count, 21. Radiopharmaceutical, a radioactive compound used for diagnostic or therapeutic purposes. Developed in the 20th century in nuclear medicine. Letter count, 19. Paleopathological, relating to the study of ancient diseases. Used in archaeology and anthropology. Letter count, 18. Microseismograph, an instrument for recording small or distant earthquakes. Developed for seismological research. Letter count, 16. Electroencephalography, the process of recording electrical activity in the brain. Used in neurology and psychiatry. Letter count, 22. Incomprehensibility, the quality of being difficult or impossible to understand. Used since the 16th century. Letter count, 19. Intersubstitutabilities, the quality of being interchangeable. Used in economics and philosophy. Letter count, 23. Hyperprolactinemia, an abnormally high level of prolactin in the blood. A medical condition recognized in endocrinology. Letter count, 18. Sternocleidomastoid, a muscle in the neck that helps with head movement. An anatomical term used in medicine. Letter count, 19. Pharmacotherapeutics, the study of the therapeutic uses and effects of drugs. An interdisciplinary field in medicine and pharmacology. Letter count, 20. Uncopyrightable, something that cannot be protected by copyright. A legal term used in intellectual property law. Letter count, 15. Hypercholesterolemia, an elevated level of cholesterol in the blood. A medical condition identified in the 20th century. Letter count, 20. Incomprehensible, not able to be understood. Used since the 14th century. Letter count, 16. Intercontinental, extending or operating between continents. Used in geography and international relations. Letter count, 16. Deinstitutionalization, the process of reducing the population of mental institutions by treating patients in the community. A term used in social and medical policy. Letter count, 22. Counter-revolutionaries, people who oppose a revolution and seek to overturn it. Used in political science and history. Letter count, 22.